I've broken Evie again. So again, I said, are you ready? And thankfully, I changed my mind and started to have a vape. But she just took a vape and then went...
You made me laugh.
And then I made her laugh, and then she was like, Puff the Magic Dragon, just went everywhere.
Oh. Keep doing this to me.
I'm
Hi!
sorry. Hi, yes, welcome back to Bonnet Babble. Episode...
8. No, 15.
Yes, maybe. We might be wrong. Don't trust us on that.
16.
No, 15.
15.
Yeah, because 13's gone out today. The one we just did was...
14.
Yes, so this is 15.
Yeah.
We can count.
I was right. I was right the first time.
Yay!
Always trust your gut.
High five. It's nice. Sorry, I've lost it now. We've had such a busy morning and I can't be a grown-up anymore. Noddy car. Right, so we are doing Mother Dearest Part 3 from the blog today. And on the blog post there's a picture of one of my mum's like old style cars. She used to love driving around in Citroen 2CVs, but we'll get to that, and it's on the blog, and I'm like, ha, noddy car. Because they were.
You might have to put a little picture.
I might, yes.
Yeah.
I'll put the picture up here somewhere, maybe, in between the meow bees. Yes. Meow, meow. Anyway.
It's literally just about to
You're missing part of it. You
go.
can't just be meow.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, sorry. So, after a distressing end to part 2, the homicidal cat fiasco, and I hope none of you were traumatised, I'm very sorry about sharing that, but it's kind of one of those stories that...
You just can't make up.
No, you
can't
can't.
even...
You can't.
It's
not
difficult
at all.
to articulate.
It is very. So it's worth noting before I go on that my mother was always particularly dippy. Like I am, I suppose. Potentially where I got my ADHD from, but she did couple it with being an absolute arse.
Mm.
A ragey arse.
So glad you're not like that.
Mm.
We
Yes.
wouldn't be friends.
No. I mean, I'm grouchy, don't get me wrong, but I do it with a good dose of sarcasm.
Yeah, I like grouchy sarcasm.
Yes.
I seem to attract them.
Yeah. So yes, she was renowned when I was younger for her daft acts. And
She spilled juice on me.
can't even be trusted to have a drink without supervision, you.
I know.
And look, you've taken off your bracelets and now you're jangling your necklace everywhere.
Well, I had to wipe my juice.
Give me juice.
My throat. Die. I shouldn't talk today.
No, just sit there quietly. Shh. Right.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's not. I can't help myself. Anyway, so my Mother Dearest, she always had a penchant for the old Citroen 2CVs. Now, if you don't know what one of those are, the picture's up there somewhere. You can't see they can't see you pointing, dude. We've got no hands.
Damn it.
On this. Yeah, so she worked her way through 3 of these batty cars before finally deciding to upgrade to a more practical mode of transport. And I swear to God, these cars were made out of tinfoil.
It looks like it.
Yeah, they were, yeah. And they were also very temperamental in the cold weather, okay? To such an extent that Mother used to put a blanket over the bonnet on cold nights, okay?
Can't keep it all.
Yeah, and the car that we had at the time, it was maroon and black. So it looked like, you know the...
I always expected it to have a yellow one.
No, but you know...
Because you got a picture of it.
Yeah, well, it's yellow and black. It's in keeping with the the theme of the website. But yeah, you know licorice all sorts?
Yes.
Yeah, well, she called it Bertie Bassett.
Right,
After-
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So when she was tucking the car in, she'd just say, you know, tucking in Bertie for the night. She's absolutely insane. And yes, all of her cars had names. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, mine's lemon.
Well, it's because it is a lemon.
Yeah.
When we drove up to Leeds, okay, it took us... I genuinely, at one point, I turned around and I'm like, this is like something out of Hills Have Eyes. This cannot end well. Like in the middle of bloody nowhere on a single track road.
Scenic route, and there was no need for
when
it.
we could have just taken the dual carriageway and gone straight on the motorway. That would have been much easier.
There was no road shut or anything.
No,
You know,
and then all
just-
the toll road
Like, let's
fiasco
go
debacles.
this way. Let's go on an adventure.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Anyway,
Lemon car.
it is terrible. So yes, one morning after an extremely nippy night, Mother was driving me to school, and my father was in his car behind us, a much more practical Mercedes. And Mother and I noticed that he was flashing his headlights. He was going mental. He was tooting his horn and flashing his lights everywhere and making all these mad, flappy gestures. Okay, so after Mother debated whether or not he'd lost his mind for a good 5 minutes, she finally decided to pull over. And when he pulled up beside us, she sort of like hollered out the window, like, "What?" And in a really deadpan voice, my father just said, "You've left your blanket on your bonnet." And this blanket was now slightly smouldering at the edges.
How did she not see that, which is driving?
Yeah. I know.
It's right in front of you.
I know. It's not like blindness that we have, like with my doom pile where I've tucked it into a corner.
No, it's
right there.
in your eyesight.
Yeah. I don't
You
know.
have to concentrate on just past the bonnet to
Yes.
drive.
I know.
But you look at it.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Carry
So
on.
she was a bit red-faced and flustered, funnily enough, by not spotting that she'd driven away with the blanket on the bonnet. So she like stormed out of the car in a big rage and wrenched the singed blanket off the bonnet in a bit of a flourish and then jammed it into the boot and got back into the car like, oh, and then carried on taking me to school.
No, thank you for letting me know.
No. Somehow it was his fault that she'd left it on there. Yeah. And then a few months later, so we've just established how much she doesn't pay attention, okay, and notice things that are right in front of her face. So a few months later, she managed to crash Bertie into a giant, bright yellow JCB digger, okay?
I have no words.
No. And her reasoning was that it had pulled out in front of her, okay? Now, they're not quick, are they, JCBs?
No.
You know, it's not like it's been fitted with some turbo race car thing and it's just shot out in front of her.
Nitrous.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Nitro, something like
Nitro.
one of the things that make it go
The boost thing.
That thing, yeah. Now, keep in mind, I've seen her drive frequently and I've seen her fits of rage. And I've seen her once drive onto the pavement in said fit of rage because the traffic was a bit slow. So she was like, I'm not sitting here. And she drove, yeah, she did. She drove on the pavement and went around the people faffing.
Talk about road rage.
Yeah. So I highly doubt that the JCB actually just poodled out in front of her. She didn't see it and crashed into it. My father, who was also a bit of a skeptic, did launch a bit of a thinly veiled barb at her about it. I said, how did you not see it? They're not small. I'm sure you can imagine went down like a lead balloon.
If you're driving a tinfoil car,
yeah,
you know, surely the wise thing to see is, oh, that's bigger than me. I should steer clear of that.
Quite. Like I do with lorries.
That will
I'm
crush me.
not going to have an argument with you. You're bigger than I am. It's a bad idea.
That's why I like driving higher up.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I'm bigger than you.
Yes.
If you bash into me, your problem. Well, it was.
It was. Yeah, it was.
You bash into me.
We're going to have to go. We're going to have to do a big saga on our Leeds debacle because it was hilarious. we got changed in the car and all sorts and nearly flashed our boobs to some random strangers. Yeah.
Well, you did. I managed
it was me that came up and was like, oh, hello.
I got the perfect timing.
You did. Anyway, so we've established that she was a bit scatty. Okay. And now we're going to go into what this post is about. So it's about Mother Dearest constantly misplacing me, her only child. Okay. Now there were 3 major occasions that this happened, but there were a lot of like minor occasions where she'd wandered off in the supermarket because she was like a magpie, like, oh, shiny, and she would just bugger off,
and you were easily distracted.
I was as well, yeah.
Under the clothes.
Like, oh, we get to that. So the first time I was misplaced, I was a newborn, so I don't remember this, but I've been told the story. Mother Dearest has recounted this several times to me over the years, after repeating the act of losing me on several further occasions. So she'd driven to the pharmacy one afternoon in search of some baby-related paraphernalia, and while scouring the shelves, she'd left me outside, asleep, snug as a bug in a rug, in the pram. And you can tell this was back in the day when people did things like that, because I wouldn't leave my kids in the pram outside of a shop.
You wouldn't leave a pram.
No.
Even if it doesn't have your child, you still don't leave the
No,
pram.
somebody nick it. They cost so much. Yeah. So having located what she was after, she drove home. Probably another 2CV. When her brain suddenly went, I think I might be missing something here. And in an alleged state of horror, she finally came to the realisation that she'd left me outside the pharmacy, asleep in my pram.
I wonder how far she made it.
No, she got all the way home.
Did she?
All the way home. Before she suddenly went, hang on a minute. I've missed a step here. Now, I've done daft things like forgotten to put a parking ticket on my car and just gone for a bit of a wander around the local town.
Oh, yeah.
And then suddenly realised 3 hours later my brain's gone, oh my God, I haven't put a ticket on, and then I've been fined. I've done that.
Yeah, I've done.
I've gotten stuck
With the blue
indoors
badge.
and that sort of stuff.
I
We'll
forget
get to
put
that.
the blue badge on.
Yeah. But I've never forgotten, despite my best efforts, my children. Yeah. So anyway, she raced back like a bat out of hell, and thankfully there was no harm done.
I love that song.
I know. Like a bat out of hell. That one.
Yeah.
Who is it? Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my favourite.
What a random bloody name.
I know.
So anyway, no harm was done. I was still fast asleep in the pram. So whilst I was growing up, I remember having to ask, staff members in the supermarkets to make one of those announcements over the tannoy, like, can such and such please come to the customer service desk. You've lost your child. Right. And she had no concept of her surroundings, was rarely paying attention to where I was, particularly in clothing stores. Okay. Now, do you remember they used to have these? They were circular racks of clothes.
Yes.
They went round in a circle, and I used to dive into the middle of it because it was like being in your own little den.
What a child didn't.
I know, it was awesome. And I would burst out, jazz hands deployed.
Oh, you'd pop up in the middle.
Yeah, like, hello, come here. Yeah.
Like a meerkat.
Yeah, so I'd burst out and give her a coronary because she wasn't paying attention. Yes, well, that is if she hadn't wandered off in the interim and I accidentally shocked a stranger. Oops. So the second major event where I was misplaced was in Disney World, Florida. So my mother had won a raffle or something at work, and had won like a week's trip into Florida over Christmas.
Over Christmas?
Over Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah. So we did. We did Christmas in
Christmas
Disney World.
Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney. Oh,
It's
really
one of them.
can't talk.
Yeah. So I think I was about 5 at the time. And before we went, Mother had drummed the concepts of stranger danger into me like a drill sergeant preparing troops to be dispatched to the front lines. Okay. I've done the same with my kids, Don't talk to strangers, don't get in anybody's car, never accept sweeties from people you don't know,
Yeah.
etc. I mean, I think they probably both would do anyway because they're lemons, but that's besides the point. So I don't remember what park we were in Disney World. But I remember we'd been out for the day. I'd realised that I was too short for nearly all the rides because I was only 5. Gutted. But there was this awesome looking like jungle gym contraption that was teeming with children. There were multiple entrances and exits and ladders and stairs and slides and monkey bars, you name it, this thing had it. It was like a jack of all trades, jungle gym thingamabob.
Kid's dream.
Yes, it was. And it was all enclosed, like covered in this like green plastic, I think vaguely resembling some form of frog or something like that. But it was, you went in through one of the entrances into the gubbins, but you couldn't be seen from the outside because it was all encased in this green stuff.
Ah.
Yeah, it was weird. So before I entered, I'd asked my dad to wait for me at a certain exit, thinking that mentally I could plot my way through the maze inside. I could not. But anyway,
You're 5. You haven't got much of a sense of a direction.
no. So once inside, I must have gotten a bit turned around because it was like a maze, and it was crammed full of sugar-laden and stampeding feral children. Yeah, so it was really loud in there as well because because of the green plastic, it caused all like the shrieks from all the other kids to just like echo and amplify.
I remember climbing frames being like that.
Yeah, and it was just too loud. So I think my parents had expected me to stay in there for a while, and potentially my dad had gone to sit with wherever my mum was. So when I got out, And I sort of orientated myself and I looked around to where he should have been standing. I was looking at the right exit, even though I'd come out somewhere else. Wasn't there. Nowhere to be seen. Okay? And he's not difficult to spot. You know, he's as wide as he is tall, even though he's not very tall. He's still quite wide. And he's got bright ginger hair, rough rugby-playing, beard-laden, glasses-sporting Yorkshireman, you know?
So not quiet either.
No. No. Not difficult to spot at a distance. So I couldn't see either of them anywhere. And I'd gone round the whole bloody distant relation to Kermit the Frog contraption. And, you know, couldn't see anything. And I started to panic a little bit. And at this point, my mother's drills did kick in. And I went and sat on a nearby wall. And my brain was just going, stay put, they'll find you. And if they don't, you know, find a woman with children or a female staff member, if all else fails, you know, they're kind of your safe bets. So I started getting quite upset because it felt like I'd been sat there for well over an hour, okay? So tears were kind of threatening to appear. And I remember having like my face in my hands trying to avoid anybody spotting that I was upset because the last thing I wanted was one of these bloody axe murderers I've been warned about spotting a vulnerable child and being like, you'll do.
Quite switched on for a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean...
Oh no, I'd been drilled. Oh yeah. I'd had all the gory details. Oh yeah. But all the bad things that can happen.
Almost 5.
I know.
And...
Just wouldn't have a clue.
No. She'd be like a lost dog going, hello, you're my new friend.
Yeah. Can you take me home? Like, okay.
But then again, actually, no.
Oh, she's really bossy though, isn't she?
Yeah.
Like when my son tried to grab her to stop her from running into the road, she stood there and went, unhand me!
Yeah, there is that. So maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. So, yeah. So I didn't want anyone to know I was distressed, in case they considered me an easy target. So yeah, I was about to crack and start scanning the crowd for a potential saviour when I heard my mother shriek. Okay, going, oh my baby, there you are! You know, and all this hugging and crying ensued from her. She was really quite dramatic. I mean, I know it must have been quite stressful having lost her only child, but I mean, it's not like she hadn't done it before. You know? So apparently when I hadn't appeared after a good 30 minutes of them being sat wherever they were sat, they tried to go into the frog maze contraption, but it was designed for much smaller patrons, so they couldn't get in. And then...
Just trying to imagine your dad
trying to force his way in.
Yeah. Tunnel.
Yeah. Oh, dear. So instead of, you know, having a good old thorough search around the immediate vicinity, they seemed to think that I'd been a complete lemon and had turned into a deranged magpie and gone back to the shops that we'd been at earlier that day.
You're not completely like your mother.
No, seeking something shiny and returning to claim it. No, I have more common sense than that, I think.
Well,
sometimes.
Clearly you did.
Yeah. But no, instead of I wasn't there, I was all of 10 feet away from where I originally was, having had my wits about me, even at 5 years old, and being a pro at being misplaced already, apparently.
Impressive.
So onwards now to the third and final major misplacement. Okay, again abroad. This time was in Italy. My mother had taken me skiing, and neither of us had the first idea how to ski. So it was, quite a trial.
A skiing holiday for those who don't ski.
It's, You and I would be hilarious.
We'd come back with broken bones.
It would be a disaster, but it would be so funny.
It would be funny.
So I was defeated on a daily basis by the drag lifts. Okay, so not only can I not deal with escalators, I can't deal with drag lifts either.
Anything that moves you.
Yes.
Are you okay in this?
Well, that's not too bad because you literally just walk onto it. It's not moving as I'm trying to get onto it. It moves after I've gotten onto it. It's things that move as I'm trying to... it defeats my brain. I don't know why. I can't do it. So I remember these bloody drag lifts, right? I usually try and get on about 3 and fail miserably and just be like deposited in a sprawling heap before I'd managed to get, picked up and taken up the mountain. And I remember one day we'd gone to do a red run, which are quite high up and they're more of a challenging slope, it's quite steep. And I could see as I was approaching on the drag lift, everybody else coming off very gracefully at this little like snowy path that was winding through all the like big pine trees. Okay?
They're probably like, pros at it by that point.
Well, no, they were in the same class as us, so they had no bloody clue what they were doing either.
Oh, well, I have no excuse.
No, I mean they could do drag lifts, I could not. Okay, and behind this path was like a 20-foot wall of compacted snow. Okay, and I missed my exit and ended up being, deposited in a sprawled mass of limbs and skis on top of this 20-foot ledge of snow. And then I remember sitting there thinking, how the hell do I get down now? What do I do now? I don't actually remember what I did to get down. I don't know where my mother was at that point either. I lost her constantly on that trip because she also couldn't cope with moving implements of transport. So I was young again, maybe about 6 years old. And because I was still small, I didn't have the fear yet that I think most adults develop later on in life. I certainly have it now. You wouldn't catch me dead on a red run these days without really knowing what I was doing. Whereas I knew nothing and was like, it's nearly completely vertical. Sold, let's go.
I think it depends what kind of mind frame I am in. Because I could be the person to think, it'll be fine, and I'll deal with the consequences later, and then go for it. But then,
well, these days
I could go the opposite way around and be like, no.
Yes, no. I can't even do roller coasters these days. Just no.
Oh, I've tried them since being an adult, and honestly, I'm terrified. I felt so ill afterwards. And
I hate that.
I thought I'd never get that old.
That feeling where your stomach goes up and you're like, I don't like that feeling at all. Just no.
Remind me never to drive you over a bridge.
I mean, if it's brief and you're not like literally falling down a big cliff thing. Yeah, no.
But I like to speed up a little bit.
Yeah. So my mother had developed this fear. And we had our instructor, it was called Giovanni. He was very Italian. And we used to get to the top of the slope and she would freeze. Now, we were supposed to be traversing, right, which is where you have your skis in like a triangle position. And it allows you to slow your movement. So you were supposed to traverse down the red run in a controlled manner. Okay. And you were supposed to slalom down, so go side by side.
Well, I thought that would be called zigzag.
No, there's a different word for it. Anyway.
Okay.
So she'd gotten to one side of the red run and then froze. Because all she could think was, if I turn, I'm going to lose control as I'm facing downwards rather than going to the side. I'm just going to shoot down the whole bloody mountain and die painfully in a heap. In a ball of flame or whatever, okay? So Giovanni had to, you know how they sidestep on skis?
Yes.
He had to sidestep the whole bloody way down to where she was, okay? Like huffing and puffing as he went. My mum just couldn't move. And when he got there, he got her, he grabbed her, like wrenched her around and went, Travis! Like that. So I'd seen that.
Just trying to imagine that with an Italian accent as well.
Yeah. So I sort of stood there and I was like, I'm bored now. I could see all of this, unfolding before me, and I was like, I'm just going to go. And I'd forgotten my poles on that day as well, but I was like, whatever. So I just went. I was like, meh, see you later, bye. Okay. Now, she would always take forever to get down the mountain. And the snowsuit thingamabob that I'd been, forced into, it was, I couldn't get it off on my own. Okay?
And just imagine, in Simpsons where they put Maggie in the snowsuit.
Yeah.
It's like a big star.
Yes. It was like that. Like, it can't move. Yeah. And it was all like poppers and zips and buckles and contraptions. And it was just impossible. And even if I had managed to get it off on my own, okay, I'm not the sort of person, I cannot pee outside. I can't do it. I have no control over where the stream goes. And I end up peeing on what I've got on my lower half. I can't do it. I need a shiwi or whatever it's called. That's what I need. Okay, so I couldn't do it on my own. Even if I had it done, it would have all gone horribly wrong. So
I've seen you get into clothes as well, like
I
your
get
coat.
trapped. I know, I'm always getting trapped.
That.
I'm defeated by zips on a daily basis.
Yes.
Okay, I can't do zips. And then, when you get stuck in a bit of clothing and you get like the stress sweats and you get like really clammy.
Flustered.
Yeah, you get like really clammy and then that makes it worse because everything's then sticking to you and it's like, I'm like when you try on a dress or something in a shop and you get stuck. Has that ever happened to you?
No, but I've seen it happen to other people.
Yeah. And I'm literally there trying to wrench it off my head, and I'm like, oh man, no, this is where I live now. I live here. I'm never going to be free again.
I could just imagine the panic on your face.
Yes. Oh. So anyway, yeah. So I was stuffed, and I had lots and lots of accidents. Now, at 6 years old, to me, that was bloody mortifying. I was well past the age where I would wet myself, you know? And it was purely because she would take 4 hours to get down the mountain versus the 1 hour it would take me. Okay, and it's not like I could walk up to a stranger and say, please, can you help me undress? Do you know what I mean? No.
Well, no.
That's not
it's been drilled into you not to talk to strangers.
No, not allowed to do that. Exactly. Thankfully, there were laundry facilities at the hotel we were in, so I wasn't subjected to being, you know, stinky, in addition to being inept at both undressing and using a drag lift, as well as escalators. So, you know, small mercies and all that. Now, I vividly remember the hot chocolate there, and if you've watched part 1 of Mother Dearest or read it on the blog, you'll know she was obsessed with hot chocolate as well. And it was like they literally just raided a Swiss confectionery and chucked it all in a pan and melted it down. It was beautiful. And unlike the hot chocolate my mother drank in Hong Kong, it was not the surface temperature of the sun. It was perfect drinking
So she didn't want to grab her passport so she could...
No, she didn't just abandon me in Italy. No, she stayed and didn't have a complete hissy fit. And on another random tangent, okay, there was a lady who did the rounds every night at dinner with the entree cart. And when she came up to each table, she would literally just approach and be like, "Suppa or pasta?" Okay? And I swear to God, they were the only 2 English words she knew. It was awesome. And even now to this day, you know, when I'm cooking or whatever, I will catch myself sometimes just going, "Suppa or pasta?"
I know, you've done it a few times when you cook in here.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the point. So every day we would get ourselves trussed up in all of our skiing paraphernalia for the activities ahead and wrestle our skis down to a bus that would take us over to the mountain and deposit us on various slopes wherever we were going that day. So on this fateful day that I was misplaced, Mother ushered me onto the bus there was an Italian lady that we'd met a few times doing the same journey. So my mother kind of left me with her while she went to ram the skis into the rack that was on the back of it. And about 5 seconds after she'd gone out the door, the doors closed.
Oh no!
And the bus drove off.
With you on it.
With me on it,
yeah.
But without Mother Dearest. She was kind of, I was like jammed at the front because it was really full, but I can just imagine her stood behind it going, "Hey."
I don't think she'd be that calm.
No, probably not. She was probably shrieking. So I was well practiced by now at being misplaced and lost. So, you know, I quite calmly carried on. I knew where we were going for the day. I got off at the right stop. I asked this Italian lady to help me get the skis off the rack, as I was a bit too vertically challenged to do it on my own at 6. And I went to sit on yet another wall.
Walls were your friends.
They were, with my skis and all of our other gubbins, to wait again. And about half an hour later, okay, my mother appeared on the next bus. She was all red-faced and bleary-eyed, and again being completely so dramatic. Like literally came legging it off the bus, going, "My baby!" like this.
You would have thought by this point she'd be like,
she knows what she's doing. She'll be fine.
Again?
Yeah. Really? How am I this inept? Yeah. So literally she came over to me and I remember her literally just smothering me in this big hug. And when I'm annoyed or have any form of feelings, I'm not friends with my feelings. I don't.
Not friendly.
No, I don't like to be touched, you know? And I think I was kind of upset, frustrated. You know, I had a few feelings to name at that point. So I didn't really want a hug. What I wanted to do was lambast her for being incompetent.
At the age of 6.
At the age of 6, yeah. So I managed to extricate myself from her, and then we trudged off to do battle with the drag lift.
Where you're already a tiny bit emotional,
yes,
and
it
you're
wasn't
having
a
to
good
face
idea.
that.
No, Terrible, terrible plan. So yeah, and there you have it. That's part 3 of Mother Dearest. And on a final side note, I'm proud to say that I've not once misplaced either of my children, despite my best efforts sometimes.
I've not misplaced mine.
No.
Apart from, actually, yes. But only because he likes to...
Only because he wanders off.
He wanders off and finds new
Makes friends.
families.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
different.
over-friendly. But I've never actually lost them through my own...
And I have been to Disney World with my children.
Yeah.
And I have not lost them.
No.
We all nearly died from plague. I need to do a holiday episode or something. I was talking about this to Evie earlier because I have some tales to tell. But,
Everything happens on holiday.
There's always a drama llama. Always. If anything involving me just has a bloody drama, really, doesn't it?
Well,
I can't be allowed out. I can't be trusted.
no, that's true.
Neither can you.
That's true.
So yeah, that's it from us today.
We always just need somebody that's grounding, but just as fun.
Yeah, we don't have that though.
No.
It's just us causing chaos and then our respective other halves going, oh my god, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's putting it really nicely.
It is. So yeah, that's it from us. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay sane.
Bye.
Bye.